Hi everybody, it's Felix here from the Heart Centre. I hope you're all doing really well today. I just thought we'd look today at the mechanics of how the emotional charges that come from the memories, so the mechanics of the memory unsealing impacting the light body structure. How does this impact you and your ability to read and reason? So first, starting with what actually happens um, when layers of information start to get unsealed. They unseal within a dimensional frequency band that starts to spin at the backside of the Hara line, so the where the crystal chakra keys sit on your Hara line. These then start to spin, releasing dimensional information or memory from these higher dimensions or personal dimensions, and this starts to move through the chakra crystal key and through the axiotonal line, and then gets relayed back into the body, gets relayed back into into the what would be the chakra crystal seed, which would then create the chakra itself. So as this information is channeled through the axiotonal line into the chakra then breaks down the information and opens this out, which then unseals the sentient resonance within there, which holds the information of the memory. So it's the emotion, the energy with that is breaking down the understanding as to what is actually held within that memory. So as this comes into your energy system, the emotional charges relay through the chakras, relay through the nervous system, and this then starts to translate into your conscious mind, translate into your reasoning mind. So you're able to process and understand what's kind of gone on here. The the thing is, when this happens, the emotional charges that come through present as if you are living that experience there and then when you're dealing with the emotional charges. It presents as if you are dealing with it in real time, so like it's happening to you. So, what this can do is it develops, number one, a kind of personalized perspective to the situation. So, when you're having this personal experience, it can feel very real that you're going through a lot, that you're having a lot of kind of trauma coming up. But in actual fact, it is just how the energy system relays to you the storyline behind something you're remote viewing, something that you're picking up on, something that you're intuiting. The energy of this translates through your system and basically unseals the emotional backlog that's interwoven with the story. So your personal experience to that isn't necessarily personal. It is just your experience of taking on that information that's running through your system, and then it's your body's way of interpreting how the situation felt, what was kind of going on within there back in that time, or whatever it is that you're looking at, for you to interpret and understand the sentient markers, the feeling, the understanding that comes through with the emotional charge. So, what we're understanding from this is effectively the energy system relays to you the experience. It provides to you the experience of what it felt like so you can potentially relive the experience and the understanding. Now, this is one level, one way to interpret this. So as this is processing through your system, you are reliving it or able to relive it. Now, this, when the energy system is kind of undeveloped, this is a very personalized experience. Now, the more this starts to come up and the more you get at processing the subjectivity to then become objective, This is how we decompress and break down the information to be able to become more neutral in the processing. So as you are organizing and arranging this information that's coming in and feels very real to you, feels very intense, we're effectively correcting our awareness of the situation to be able to see it for what it is. And yes, this is what I'm feeling now. I'm going to put this into this level of the structure, into this organization. This is what happened there. This is the feelings that went with that there. Okay, meet the needs of that aspect of self, or meet the needs of the energy where it's feeling overwhelmed. Organizing, processing, putting it into a log or into a map or a structure. Then you go in and take the next piece of information and you process the subjective understanding behind it to develop the objective response. And then you put that into a level of organization. The next level, you do the same until you basically get all of these layers of information very, very clear, very coherent, and very easily understandable to be able to become objective in what it is that you're viewing. So your personalized experience starts off as subjective and then phases into the response that is objective. So very important to understand you can hold both because you have to go through one to get to the other. And then eventually, the more developed you become at holding objectivity, you can just jump straight to the objective viewpoint of this is what happened at the situation. Usually by then, you will have mastered some part of the energy system to be able to process and understand consciousness and how it works. So you're able to kind of jump a few steps ahead of not needing the subjective experience by feeling everything, but being able to read it maybe clairvoyantly, maybe holographically, and just being able to see it in real time and be like, okay, this is the narrative, this is the story, to get to that understanding. Now, the in-between layers between there is a lot of the time we're going to be dealing with a lot of metaphoric information and a lot of energy that needs to be decoded. So the subjectivity and the sentience, where you're processing the sentient layers of it to gain fuller understanding behind it, is going to be really key to breaking down the narrative behind what it is that you're understanding. So first stage, you've got the release of the information that then gets fed through your system, and you experience it as a full body kind of interpretation, a full body awareness of energetic charge, emotional charge. You process this, put it into an organization. So you've got a bit of a narrative or a structure. And for the parts that you're not understanding and you're not getting, this would usually come up as metaphoric information or layers of energy that needs to be decoded. So you have to reach in, pull out more of the sentient weight behind it to process this and get deeper clarity, deeper meaning behind the imagery. And then you open this out again and then categorize and organize, refine your information to understand this. And then eventually you'll get to a point of having a very clear understanding of the memory, a very clear interpretation of that, because the memory has then become as though as crystal clear as I am talking to you now. Hopefully it's going to be crystal clear anyway. So that is basically a big chunk of the process of how we can translate our downloads, how it feels like to get a download, or how it feels like to unseal layers of a blockage or memory. It can be looked at in many different ways, actually. And then organizing the information and putting it into a structure to be able to create a log behind that. So I just thought I'd leave you with that anyway. I wish you all a wonderful day. Lots of love to you all and take care. Bye.